Yes, sir. You have everyone here now.
Mr. Smith is there?
Hey, Derek.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
I'm here.
Okay,
You
very
also have
good.
Mr. Lawson, Attorney Heiser, Ann Baker, Mr. Jenkins, Mr. Fergus.
Very good. So it has been determined we have a quorum. Can we adopt the agenda, please? Motion?
I make a motion, we adopt the agenda.
Second.
Second?
Smith, second.
Very good. All in favor, aye.
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 So we're on action item number 4. Can Ms. Baker? I would like Ms. Baker to move forward on how we're going to move forward with this meeting, and suggest the protocols for the meeting. Thank you.
So, and Mr. Huggins, I'm assuming you're talking about the special call board meeting next week. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes. Correct.
Okay. Yep. So, what we've in discussions with Mr. Nicholson, Ms. Heiser, and also with RapDev Council, what we're anticipating for the meeting is that the only item on the agenda will be the presentation by RapDev to the board, as long also with a presentation by Mr. Ando. And then there will be a period for question and answers from the board to either the RapDev representatives or Mr. Ando. The ground rules that we envision will be that each party will be allowed to make their presentation uninterrupted. So there will be no back and forth from the board or Mr. Ando or RapDev during the period of time in which Mr. Ando is speaking or the board. So it'll just be uninterrupted presentations by both parties. And then during the question and answer period, we're not going to have any back and forth. So if a question is asked by the board to RapDev, RapDev will respond. And if the board feels that they would like to hear any response to that, they can ask Mr. Ando to also provide a response. And so that way we can avoid there being any tit for tat back and forth. And that's pretty much, I think, will be the entire meeting. We anticipate the meeting should not go any longer than 2 hours. We're thinking it may be shorter than that, but we want to make sure that the board has ample opportunity to have any questions asked and answered that they deem fit.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Baker?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
my question is, have we given them, either party, an outline of what we hope they will cover in their presentations, or is this just entirely up to them what they want to say?
So I haven't provided them with an outline. Obviously, they have raised several issues regarding the contract and the work environment. So I assume that they have, this is their opportunity, since they're the one that's been asking for months to be able to speak to the board. So I'm assuming that they will be coming with their concerns and issues that they want the board to hear.
Sure. Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions from the board?
Mr.
I do
Chair,
not think we need to. Go ahead, Andy.
just one procedural question. You may have addressed this either Derek or Pam, and if you did, I'm sorry. The agenda will require an immediate entry into executive session, correct? So contractual matter.
Correct. Right.
Okay. So I just want to clarify that. And then Um, um, two, well, never mind. I think I've got that second question I had answered based on what Lil asked. So I think I'm good. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, then that another question occurs to me is that once they've presented it and once we have our questions and answers, do we anticipate coming to any kind of recommendation or conclusion, or is this just for us to receive the information and have time to think about it?
It's just for the board to receive the information and have time to think about it.
Okay.
We don't have any anything that would need to have action taken or anything like that.
Okay, that's helpful because I know if I hear a lot at one time, it helps me to have time to kind of absorb it and reflect on it, not feel pressed to make some sort of decision on the spot.
Right.
So, Attorney Baker, would you please outline the format of the meeting again, please, so every board member know how this thing's gonna play out?
Yes. So I guess as standard, meeting called order, adoption of the agenda, etc. And then we would need to have a motion to go into executive session. Once we would get into executive session, I could, or the board chair could introduce the representatives of RapDev, indicate that they have requested on numerous occasions to meet with the board. And so today is their opportunity to speak directly to the board to present issues related to the contract being implemented by RapDev with the comment. And then they would speak uninterrupted. And then I suppose if the board has any questions at the end of their presentation, those could be dealt with at that time. Once they have concluded, then Mr. Ando would be invited to come up and make his presentation uninterrupted. And if the board has any questions for Mr. Ando at that time, those could be asked and answered. And then if there are any additional questions for either of the parties, those could be asked and answered at that time as well. And then we would adjourn. Well, we would come out of executive session and then we would adjourn.
Any questions from the board members at this time?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is Allison. I was just wondering, and you might have said this, but are they traveling? Is RapDev traveling in for this? Will they be physically in person there?
I think there will be some representatives physically in person, yes, and I do think that they will be traveling because we had to kind of coordinate a date that would work, give them proper time to travel. I'm not exactly sure who those persons are, but it is my understanding that some of them will be traveling in to attend in person.
Okay, and then just in terms of board presence, I mean, I usually attend like this just on Teams, but do you think it would be better if we tried to attend in person?
Given the situation with COVID, I don't, want to, make it feel like there's any pressure for anyone to be there in person.
Sure.
I know we'll have adequate video and so that we can all attend virtually if need be. I think Ned Nicholson and myself will probably one or both of us will try to be there in person. Because I'm sure RapDev's council will be there in person, but I think either way is fine, and would kind of leave it up to the individual members to make that judgment.
Okay.
What kind
And
of,
let me say this. As I don't want the individuals to be in a situation where they have to be there in person. I do not. If you feel comfortable,
Right.
that's fine. I will be there in person, but please, if you feel that you need to be on conference, we will make sure that you have all the information virtually.
well, Mr. Chairman, I was just thinking, I've been trying to be real cautious myself, but I really have not had a satisfactory experience when I tried to join with team. Often my audio doesn't seem to be as clear as it is when I'm just on the phone. And so, what size? What would the overall group size be? Would there be plenty of room for us to keep safe distance and wear masks if we decided to come in person?
Mr. Ando.
We'll do our best in this large conference room. I mean, it'll really depend on how many people will be in this room. But we can definitely do our best to space people out appropriately.
Okay, well, this is what we'll do. We'll poll everyone that's going to be in the meeting, and we'll go from there. We'll let you know how we're going to structure this. I will not put anybody in harm's way to make sure they have to be in this meeting. So
Sure.
we will be forthcoming with that information.
And I'll email RAPDEV's council and see if I can get a number from them as to who's going to be in attendance in person.
Well, I appreciate that. That would be really helpful because it would make a difference to whether I attend or not. I'd always rather be there in person because I think the communication is so much easier. But I mean, if we think 11 board members and the staff and the RAPDEV, I mean that can get to be hard to keep distance even in that big room.
Correct. I agree.
Okay.
We will be forthcoming with that information of how we're going to make sure everybody's safe through this meeting. So, is there any other discussion matters? Can I make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Meeting is
Okay,
adjourned.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.